we are going to be talking TikTok next, which is something which, yeah, as the granddaddy here, and I increasingly feel like is something I'm aware of, but from a consumer perspective, but not really about the business side of it. But I know it's huge. I know my son is obsessed with it. Yeah. So next up, we are going to be talking with. I'm going to need you to pronounce this because I am only going to marmalize it. Come on, give it. I've got nothing. I was going to say
Jide Maduako.
Jide Maduako. Okay, good, cool,
Yeah,
very listening. So Jide, you're from Yoke, the
yeah.
Yoke network, and you want to talk to us about driving 1 million installs with TikTok influencers.
Yeah, and counting.
1 million and counting. Well, are you all right? Where are you based? You in London? Are you in?
Yeah, I'm in London. So
we're both in London. It's great weather today, isn't it?
The weather's awful.
The guy from California had it better. Who knew? But
yeah.
Are you all set up to go? Are you ready with your?
Yeah. Should I just share my screen?
You share your screen. We're in the background. You have a problem, we'll jump in and then we'll come at the end to ask questions. But otherwise, I'm going to disappear and let you get on with it.
Okay.
That's cool, Yoke. Yes, cool. You're one of our sponsors. Thank you very much. So yeah, I saw some of you guys the other day. I'll let you talk about it anyway. So thank you, and yeah, off you go.
Perfect. Okay. So hi guys. My name is Jide Maduako, and today I'll be talking about scaling UA through influencers on TikTok. So in terms of the agenda today, we'll be going through kind of who we are. So I'll give you a brief insight as to what we do at Yoke. Then why TikTok in comparison to other social media platforms. Then best practices with influencers. So how to execute influencer campaigns on TikTok and the best practices for that. And then finally, the effect of influencer campaigns and essentially like measuring the effect of the impact of your influencer campaigns on TikTok. So in terms of who I am, I'm sure you've heard a couple of times now, but I'm Jide Maduako. I'm from London and I'm one of the co-founders at Yoke and the CEO. And what do we do at Yoke? So we have a network of over 2,000 influencers on TikTok with a 600 million plus total audience. And the influencer categories range from lifestyle to gaming, entertainment and comedy. And we predominantly work in the US, UK, and UK markets. But with influencer traffic, as you will learn in the talk today, you do get installs from across the globe. So how do we do it? We do it through CPI influencer marketing. So through our influencer network, we actually work on a cost per install basis to actually scale campaigns. And in terms of who we've worked with, we worked with partners across the mobile industry, from fintech to gaming, with Plarium to Revolut, to Spock with shopping, and Pixar through photo and editing. So we've worked with a whole host of apps across the mobile industry. And why TikTok then? And this is the big question I think a lot of advertisers and mobile advertisers especially are asking, why TikTok? Well, in terms of the platform itself, it actually has over 800 million monthly active users, and it's actually received over 1.5 billion total installs. So I'm sure you guys have seen TikTok all over the place. But the key thing and the most interesting thing is that TikTok on average is getting about 45 minutes per day per person in terms of active users. So that's a lot of watch time, especially in comparison to other social media channels. So what are the key benefits of TikTok and the platform itself? So number one, it's a creator focused platform. In comparison to Instagram, which is more about the social experience and engaging with your friends, TikTok is all about the content. Two, with it being a creator focused platform and all about the content, it's also has full screen content, whereas other social media platforms like YouTube is landscape and it's actually made for desktop, and Instagram isn't full screen as well. But where it is full screen, the content is able to draw you in and attract your eyeballs when you're in the platform. And finally, as a mobile advertiser and as an advertiser, this is really important because it's a very unsaturated audience in comparison to other social media channels. So there's a huge opportunity for you to get in front of a new audience and to monetize those eyeballs. Whereas other platforms like Instagram and YouTube, they're pretty saturated with advertisers. TikTok is completely different and has new eyeballs, especially in the Western markets. So another thing about TikTok and why TikTok, well, anybody can go viral. And here is an example of an influencer or creator on the platform. They actually have 10K followers, so about 10,000 followers. And the way that the platform works is that because it's all about the content, if your content is good enough, you can get pushed to the For You page. And it's often seen that creators on the platform may have 10,000 followers and end up getting millions of views, which you can't do and is unseen on other platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. It just doesn't happen because they're paid social mediums now. So you need to build your audience first before you get the eyeballs. But on TikTok, you can get the eyeballs immediately. And in terms of that, there's also positive engagement. And what I mean by positive engagement is that on Instagram, you will often see creators have 100,000 followers and they would actually end up getting about 10,000 likes, or a fraction of a smaller percentage of their audience will view their actual content. Whereas on TikTok, you can have 10,000 followers and get millions of views. So that is engagement beyond your actual audience, because the algorithm does push you to new audiences. And here's an example of this. This creator that I highlighted, the one with 10,000 followers, she actually had 10.7 thousand followers. And this video that I'm going to show you received over 6 million views.
Everybody has that one thing in their house that everybody thinks is so cool. Could be a hidden cabinet, little movie room, gadget, but ours is this.
It's pretty cool content. So as you can see here, this actual creator, because she's small, her views do fluctuate, but that you can see the real scale of TikTok when done correctly. So in terms of actually ranking influencers and how we kind of categorize influencers in the Yoke network, we say micro is between 200,000 to 1 million followers. In terms of mid is 1 to 5 million followers. Large is 5 to 10 million followers, and mega is 10 million plus followers. And that's because there are multiple influencers, and even within our network, the largest influencer that signed up to our platform has over 18 million followers, whereas our entry point is about 200,000. But I'd say if you want to work with influencers on the platform, I'd say probably start in the mid tier, between 1 to 5 million followers, because you can actually get a real idea of scale, and you can see the impact on your actual campaign, which I'll get to later down in the presentation. So I want to profile an influencer. This influencer, he would essentially be a mid creator, so between the 1 to 5 million range, and his name is Bobby Moore. So Bobby Moore, he actually has 4.2 million followers, and on average, he gets between 750K views to 1.5 million views per post. But sometimes his actual content does go viral, and we often see him have a huge impact on the mobile campaigns that we run. So I want to give you an idea of the scale that you can see with the influencers on the platform. So I'm going to play this content for you, and you'll be able to see the impact that it had for one of our clients.
Hey, keep quiet. Shh. I'm about to tell you a secret about Netflix. Okay, so the American Netflix has way more shows than the UK Netflix. Shh. But I know how you can watch those shows even if you don't live in America. Shh. Just follow my next steps and never be bored again. Shh. Okay, so click the link in my bio to download Hexatech VPN. Set your virtual location as the United States and connect. Now enjoy all the American Netflix shows.
So I accidentally clicked earlier, but this piece of content actually received over 55,000 installs worldwide, which is actually crazy scale. And it also received over 3 million views. So in terms of the actual impact and the scale for mobile advertisers, the influence on the platform can actually have a huge impact, and it's often that you see this happen with these larger scale influencers. So there's huge scale available when working with TikTok influencers on a platform. But how do you unlock the scale, and how do you get the best out of creators? Because it can't surely be that you will just give the creator your app and it would actually work. So I have a few tips for you in terms of the best practices when working with influencers. So number one, in terms of best practices, you need to create engaging content. And what I mean by engaging content is content that actually keeps the eyeballs and increases the watch time for the actual the influencer's audience. Because you don't want to make content that is very addy and that is very boring, because then the audience won't, then the content won't get pushed by the algorithm, number one, and two, it'll be very boring and the audience will just swipe past the content. And two, I'd say create content that is very native to the influencer's audience. The way that you could do this is by creating a shorter brief that integrates your app for the influencer, and then gets the influencer to use their creativity to kind of tell that story about your app with a call to action. So this is because when working with influencers, you often see that the content will be very, very addy, or the brand or app might want to have too much creative control. But TikTok is all about the creator. It's all about the content. So you need to give creators the opportunity to do so. So I want to run through two examples. Here on the left is an example of a horrendous influencer ad. And on the right is an example of a Yoke ad, and something that we do with influencers. So have a look now.
Are you planning on gaining weight, or even losing weight? Or maybe you're planning on maintaining your weight? Stick around, because I'm about to show you my little secret. Welcome to your daily dose of health facts. So my best girlfriend, who's literally like a fitness god, showed me this app a couple months ago called Flat Tummy. It's for women. It's called Flat Tummy. Look for it now in the App Store. It's like a pink and white arrow. I'll show you. Not only is it a fitness app, and it'll tell you what to do every day, depending on if you want to work on your core, upper body, or lower body, but it also has menus and ingredients, so you know how to make things for all meals of the day, so you know you're staying in your target weight range. Also, though, it has a shop section where you can get nice fitness clothes, protein shakes, multivitamins. It's amazing. You must get this app. I literally fell in love, and I use it every day. There's the app right there.
Yes, I'm sure a few of you might have clicked off the screen. But the main reason why this content wasn't good was because, one, it was just clearly unauthentic, and it did not actually fit the influencers' content, usual content itself. On top of that, the actual content was as though the influencer was reading off a script, and it looked very, very addy. As an audience, as a TikTok user, they will usually just scroll past this, and the way the algorithm works, they'll note that, and I can tell you that this wouldn't have performed well. However, I can give you an example of actually some good content where you have it native to the influencer's audience, but on top of that, I describe it as engaging content.
Hey guys, my name's Dom, and I'm going to show you my daily routine. So I start by waking up and playing some games. Then I have a big bowl of Cocoa Pops, play some piano, because who doesn't love music? Then I turn on my phone and look for apps to play. Today's app is Survival City Zombie Defense. Now hear me out, this game is addictive. From the get-go, you are introduced to fighting zombies, and the tension is real. Basically, the concept of the game is to build up your town and build up your defenses, and basically just get rid of all the zombies who look a lot like Simon Cowell with it. You get gifts along the way, bombs, etc. You can build more defenses, get more villagers, and it's so much fun. You can also do missions which gives you extra materials. The scariest part about this game, though, is the nights when zombies invade. I'm so nervous to do this. If you guys pass night 1, you are a legend. As you can see, I'm getting attacked by loads of zombies and I'm kind of scared. That is Zombie City, guys. Links in bio. If you're unsure to what link in bio means, click the profile picture to the right of the screen and then click the link in my bio. They will be taken to the download page. Hope you guys enjoy and have fun fighting zombies. See you later. Hey guys.
So in terms of the content, there was a huge difference. In terms of example number 1 was very boring. It was very stale. But in terms of example number 2, the actual ad itself and the content created by the creator it took advantage of TikTok's features in terms of changes. It cleanly explained how the game works. It also was very native to the creator's audience and usual content, which was really engaging, and this performed really, really well. So other things that you could do with in terms of best practices on TikTok are, you can take advantage of viral trends. And I'll show you in this video, although the actual example isn't the app taking advantage of a viral trend, but I can explain how you can integrate it. And two, you can also make sure that there's a call to action on the post. So what happens, you could either do this in the actual video itself. So when the creator creates the content, as you see, Don Marcus, the correct content in the last slide, he was able to show his audience that you can go through, click the link in my bio, and you can download the app. And this was easily guiding his audience to download the content. So I'll show you here.
Wipe it down. Wipe it down.
So although that content was short and sharp, what an app you could have done with this content is that as there was a wipe, they could have integrated their own app and maybe even shown a picture of their app. And then when it wiped back, they could have also shown another picture of their app. So it's really, really cool, and it's really quite an engaging way. And as I said, if you put the wipe down challenge in the campaign brief, and then you told the influencers to integrate it with your app, then I'm sure that they will be able to come up with some really cool and creative ways to drive installs for your app. So in terms of the influencer effect, so it's all good and well understanding how TikTok works, understanding the type of scale that you can get with influencers, but I want to show you how to actually kind of measure and see the effect of influencers on the campaign. So what we did is that we worked with one of our clients, and we were able to trying to measure the organic effect of the influencer campaign for them. And through our network, we work on an always on model. So our clients are receiving installs on a daily basis, and they're always, and we're essentially a user acquisition channel for them, but our publishers are influencers. So what our client wanted to see was over a month period, how their spend with us and our influencer network had an effect on their app install, on the app install ranking. So the cells in green are for increase on the rank based on the previous day. The cells in red are a decrease on the rank on the previous day, and the cells in orange are keeping the same rank in the App Store on the next day. So during this period, just to note, this is when we actually pause the campaign to kind of calculate and start measuring the effect. So you can already see that as they reduce their spend, they also reduce their position in the App Store. And what we actually were able to see was that there was a direct correlation between our clients' influencer spend and their App Store ranking. And this is mainly because of the organic effect in addition to the performance of the paid install effect. So this is the organic uplift from the campaign. So what you actually see with a lot of influencer campaigns is that there is a lot of organic uplift, and often you will see a boost or a jump in your organics the day that a larger influencer, especially a larger TikTok influencer, will post. And how do you calculate this? Well, for smaller apps, it's a lot easier to see organic uplift. If you're not receiving that many installs per day, then what you can actually see that there'll be less noise and there'll be a larger jump on the number of installs if you were to work with like an MMP or even looking on the back end in App Store Connect. But also with a larger app that is very noisy and has multiple advertising channels such as Facebook, Google, YouTube, then it's a lot harder to calculate the organic uplift from an influencer campaign. So what I would even say is probably target a smaller geo, and how we often do it is target the UK because it's a lot easier to measure the organic uplift within a smaller geo in comparison to most apps that are targeting the US and trying to calculate it, especially with a noisy channel, will be pretty difficult. And another thing that you get with influencers is the social credibility. And measuring the effect of this is that as an advertiser, you're able to leverage that influencer's audience. And on TikTok, what we have seen is that influencers' audience are hugely loyal to them in comparison to Instagram, in comparison to, and similarly to YouTube actually. In comparison to Instagram, there's quite a fickle audience, and that's because they're less engaged. But on TikTok, the fans are diehard and they're really, really loyal. So you can see this effect, and I'll explain to you in a further case study in this deck. So the influencer effect. Just to wrap it up, when measuring the influencer campaigns, just think about the paid installs. I'd say look on your App Store Connect as well. If an influencer is supposed to like at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night, kind of use that as a timestamp to look at the organic installs that you receive based on the past few days and for the next 48 hours when the campaign goes live. So with that is paid installs plus the organic installs equals the total effect of the influencer campaign. So this is just a short way, a quick way to kind of calculate the effect of a campaign on paper. So I want to walk you through a case study that we had with one of our, with a photo editing app. The app is called Airbrush, and they asked us to help them to drive that engagement through TikTok influencers and also installs. So what we did and what we do for all of our campaigns is that we have historical data on all influencers because we have that stored within our network now. So we select influencers based on their historical data first, and then we select influencers based on their category. And this is what we did with Airbrush. We then got the influencers to create some really cool content in their natural tone of voice about Airbrush. And here's an example of one of the pieces of content that was created for the campaign.
So I'm doing this airbrush trend again, but instead of putting everything to the right, I want it to be as far left as possible. So as you can see, I'm putting my eyebrows all the way down so they can be little cute little caterpillars. I want my lips to be super small and petite, make them smaller. I want my nose to look super, super small and cute, like Cindy Lou Who. What? I want my eyes to look like tiny little black dots, like little pelican black dots. And I just want my face all together to be small. And what do I get in return? I look like a freaking monkey. If you want to try it yourself, the link's in my bio.
So with this actual piece of content, we actually saw some huge results. So the influencers not only used that as a content example, but we actually saw engagement in a lot more deeper ways. So there was a social effect. And we actually saw that on TikTok, you can actually use the sound of an influencer. And we saw that the influencers then, other influencers within our network were using Cringe Carter's sound to create content for themselves. And this essentially leads to UGC being created. So here's an example of how we
So I'm doing this air.
So by searching the sound by Cringe Carter, this is all UGC. And and by UGC, I mean user-generated content. We actually saw over 500 pieces of user-generated content created. And it even gets better. Some of the followers from the campaign actually went into the App Store, onto Airbrush's reviews, and were leaving comments saying, come on, we all know most of us are here from Louis Mills's TikTok, don't lie. And Louis Mills is one of the creators that works with us within our network. So on a monetary level, we actually saw upon the launch of this campaign and calculating the effect, Airbrush fed back to us and they said that they had seen a 90% increase in revenue across the UK and US markets. Part of this was because it integrated the social effect, the organic uplift, the social credibility, and also the performance aspect of the campaign. So Cringe Carter's post, the one that I use as an example, here is it in numbers. Well, there was the total views from the original post were only 527K views. However, the total piece of UGC created was 578 pieces, which you can see here. And finally, including the UGC and Cringe Carter's post, there were actually over 7 million views for Airbrush on this campaign. And in terms of the campaign as an overall, we actually saw that the campaign over the duration of the 5 days, we saw that there was an App Store increase within the UK market of over 400 places. And the highest overall App Store rank for Airbrush was they actually broke into the top 20 overall in the UK App Store. So there was huge effects across the social side, in terms of the content side, in terms of the actual paid installs, because we were able to help them to drive revenue. And overall, Airbrush is still a client that we work with today, and they're seeing some phenomenal effects through our influencer network. So, just in summary of my deck today, if you're a mobile advertiser, you need to move now. You really need to get into TikTok because it is an unsaturated audience, and on top of the fact that the longer that you wait, the more opportunity there is for your competitors to get on the platform, explore it, and be able to scale and get in front of you. And there's huge scale on the platform. From the examples that I'm showing to you today, there are influencers with millions and millions of eyeballs and views that they're receiving every single day that are ready to be monetized by your apps. And finally, make sure the number one rule is give the creators freedom when they're creating and working with you. Main reason being is because we are all advertisers. We're not creators. The creators have built up their audience and they will know how to best position your app in front of their audience. My name is Jide Maduako. I'm one of the co-founders at Yoke Network, and I hope that I was able to provide a lot of value for you today. On top of that, what I've actually done is I'll leave the screen up here, but you can actually download our TikTok influencer guide by going on this landing page, and it explains how we've driven over 1 million installs and counting on TikTok, and it's a guide with kind of the best practices and interesting ways that you can work with influencers on TikTok. Hope I was of value.
Wow, that was great. There's a lot of data in there. So this talk, like others, will all be available to distribute to the whole conference. So this will be a lasting value. So hopefully there's nothing there you don't mind sharing. The future.
Oh yeah, I'm happy to.
That was really good. A lot of data in that. We've got a load of questions and we've got a bit of time because we're just waiting for the next panel to get together. So we're okay.
Yeah.
So yes, I've got a few questions. Before we get into that, what I want to ask is, as I say, I'm probably outside the demographic of TikTok slightly.
Nah, yeah, I'm sure that you'd work well on the platform.
yeah. No, I don't mean as a creator. I mean as a but anyway, but I'm aware of what it is. But I don't see a lot of what I see isn't necessarily kind of games advertising promotion. I'm not in it as much as how much do you think at the moment is, or how many clients are games companies? Because you mentioned a variety of clients there.
Yeah.
Are a lot of games companies using TikTok at the moment, do you think?
Yeah. So interesting enough, I actually used a game example. So the example that I said was best was actually a game example. But what I would say is that there are a lot of gaming clients on, in terms of like there's music gaming that we're kind of working with. There's also a lot of social gaming. So I think what kind of we haven't seen work too well is like hyper casuals on TikTok. Yeah. But I still think that as the audience begins to mature and the eyeballs start to come on the platform in terms of different categories of content, there will definitely be an opportunity for gaming to scale more.
I mean, I know that ByteDance and TikTok themselves are doing some games publishing their own as well. So yeah. They're obviously got their own promotion network. Right. Anyway, there's a lot of very specific questions and some general questions here. So. I'm going to see. I'll scan into some of these. What you might be able to answer these quite quickly. So Phil, don't worry. You don't have to pad. Just answer.
Yeah. Do I answer them all?
No, I'll say them and you can react.
Okay,
but you don't have to read. So what geos do you do CPIs in? Is one quick question.
The main geos that we work in is the UK and the US. So about 80% of our influencer traffic is from are from those geos. But with influencer traffic, you get installs from across the globe, but there will obviously be about I'd say like 5% is like rest of the world, and then 15% is like tier 1 English speaking markets.
Okay. There's a couple of questions that were combined. So what you mentioned, I think you mentioned in your talk, unsaturated audience. So what Sai has been very vocal in lots of questions here. He's asking, what do you mean by that?
So unsaturated audience means that there are just not that many advertisers there, especially in comparison to other social media platforms. So as anybody can advertise on Facebook, from small business to large businesses, from apps to e-commerce. There's so many different types of advertisers on Facebook and Instagram, but on TikTok, there aren't as many at all. So that's what I mean by unsaturated, because the eyeballs are fresh and they're essentially ready. They're going to be a lot more highly engaged and not used to that.
Okay, no, definitely. And a final question from Si, and then I'm going to have to cut him out because he's asked about 1,000. How is CPI and retention compared to paid ad networks?
Well, we actually see it a lot better. Mainly because the way that we work is on a fixed CPI. So in terms of what will happen is that the actual campaigns, you only build for the paid CPI, but then there's the organic effect that you're always going to get with influencer traffic. And then that actually reduces your CPI. So we always say we look at it as an eCPI. And the way that we actually work is similar to the ad networks. That we optimize campaigns based on the post install. We're very data driven with our influencer campaigns. So it's actually dependent on the app. It works really well. Some apps, I'm going to be honest, not all campaigns perform the best. But that's just me being honest. But that's
well, I mean, not every ad campaign works, right? That's not just something that's influencer only. But it's great to have lots of data, because that's often a criticism of influencer, is that it's a bit more hit and hope. I guess there's a couple of questions here. So Daniel Partis is an editor of Influencer Update at one of our channels here, is asking, there's a lot of traffic there, obviously massive traffic, but how are they valuable? Question mark. You obviously are, but do you? I think a point is people watch so many TikToks. It's one of those things you kind of browse through. How do you ensure that content kind of sticks? And
no, that's a good question. And some of that I mentioned in my deck as well. I'd say have a call to action. And it also depends on the creators as well, because some creators, they have, as I mentioned, they have really, really loyal audiences. So anything they say, they will do, essentially. So I'd say have a call to action so that you can essentially drive those eyeballs to a place.
Okay, fair enough. And then we've got, I guess it's kind of the same thing as a brand. How can you convey information in 15 seconds? That's kind of the same deal.
But to be fair, even as a brand, I would say is that because what we have our businesses through CPI and our performance network, but we also have our agency which focuses on brand, and we actually do brand campaigns there. To kind of help brands establish their presence on TikTok, and that's more about eyeballs.
Okay, cool, fantastic. There's a question about PC games. Obviously, the connection to mobile is more obvious. It's a mobile app. Have you got an experience of working with non-mobile games or apps like PC stuff? Yeah,
so that's what we do with like our brand side. With PC games, I'd also say similar to just existing influencer marketing. What you'd have to probably do is work on reviews. And with PC, it's like it's not going to be as direct response because there's a paywall. So there's other, I'd say you could incorporate influencer marketing into like a facet of marketing channels, but it's always good to work with influencers because of the social effect of them. If their audience sees that you're working with influencers and the influencers are playing the game, they're more than likely going to convert on maybe if it's TikTok native or even on other channels.
Cool. I'm going to ask two quick last questions in one, and I'm going to ask Sai Ganupti if he'd like to follow up with you direct, because he's got a lot of specific
questions. Definitely.
So two questions. One is just a general one. I don't know if TikTok's any different to other. Obviously, sometimes there can be challenges working with influencers. They're kind of creative individuals and they're used to doing their own thing. Is there anything specific relating to TikTok above others? or was it just the same issues?
I think so. With us, we've been working on TikTok for about a year plus now. So what we've seen is that on TikTok, the creators are they have all the tools on the actual platform in the app to create.
Yeah.
So the turnaround time's a lot quicker. They're not like prima donnas like YouTubers or Instagram influencers.
Yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But even within our network, that's one thing that we have and that we are able to leverage because we have these relationships. We can turn around campaigns very quickly. So that's something that we do really fast and TikTok overall is a lot quicker and easier to work with influencers.
And a final question. I know that TikTok's growth has been phenomenal. Obviously, we've asked this in a lot of other tracks today. COVID-19 has obviously been more time at home, more people looking for entertainment. Now that people are starting to go out, and are you seeing any drop-offs in data or engagement or anything like that, or is it just holding?
To be fair, we haven't actually seen a huge impact at all from people kind of coming out. I think the impact will be is that it will just be different sectors will have their booms. So for example, especially in London, everybody's ready to go out and just party really. So like, I can imagine like event apps or even just like lifestyle like and venue apps will probably see an increase because like something like Dice, for example, people want to find out what there is to do. So I think it's more the category of apps that will change and but in gaming especially, I think it's another thing that I spoke to my one of my clients about was that it's the type of game. The game category was has been affected by COVID. So during COVID, there was like kind of a decrease in hyper casual in comparison to like there was an increase in like strategy games, and it's because with hyper casual you usually play it when you're busy or when you're bored. But with strategy games now, what's actually happening is that because during COVID you want to get immersed in the game, you want to get lost in it and play it for longer. So there was actually a higher increase in installs for like strategy side than like hyper casual. So yeah.
The more casual, you think as people going out, the more quick hit.
Yeah, I think as people are going out, then especially in gaming, they might start to turn back towards the casual category because you're going to be busy with other things. You're not going to be playing at home all day, kind of idle.
Cool. All right. I'm on that note. I think I'm going to have to say goodbye. Jide, if anyone wants to ask questions or find more, we will share the link for the. I've already shared a link there, but we'll share information from that 1 million installs thing. And thank you very much for sharing so much data. It's really insightful. And hopefully we can have a beer together without safe at some point.
No, definitely up for that. Definitely up for that.
All right. Have a great afternoon. Thank you very much.
See you later, guys.